The galaxy is vast, home to countless intelligent species scattered across countless star systems. For centuries, many of these alien civilizations have coexisted in uneasy peace, forming alliances, trading technologies, and occasionally clashing over resources or ideology. But all that changes with the rise of a terrifying new force, the Calthar Dominion. The Calthar Dominion is a ruthless interstellar empire born from the ashes of a forgotten war. Their rise is swift and brutal, mass-producing war machines and deploying them with merciless efficiency. Their massive war fleets systematically overwhelm planet after planet, enslaving or annihilating entire civilizations without remorse. Their goal is simple: complete domination of the galaxy's most resource-rich sectors and the subjugation of every species they encounter. As the Dominion's war machines advance, panic spreads through the Galactic Council of Species. Diplomatic attempts to negotiate peace or unite a defense coalition fail. Many species lack the military power to stand against the Dominion's overwhelming firepower and mechanical legions. Worlds that once buzzed with life fall silent, turned into death worlds. Planets ravaged by constant bombardment and biological weapons, rendered inhospitable by the Calthar's scorched terraforming. In this darkest hour, a desperate plea for help echoes through the galaxy. The alien civilizations most affected band together and broadcast a galaxy-wide distress call. Their message is clear: if there is any force out there capable of stopping the Calthar Dominion, they must act now. The call reaches far and wide, even to Earth, a planet previously regarded as a backwater, an isolated species barely known to the larger galactic community. On Earth, humanity is far from the technologically advanced superpowers of the Galactic Council, but they are battle-hardened. For generations, humanity has endured harsh environments, brutal wars, and survival on deadly death worlds with hostile ecosystems. Earth's militaries and fleets, forged in these crucibles, have developed a reputation for unyielding resolve and unconventional tactics. The distress signal divides Earth's leaders. Some argue humanity should stay out of alien affairs, wary of the political entanglements and potential costs. Others see an opportunity, not just to aid the galaxy, but to prove that humanity is not a weak or insignificant species. After intense debates, the decision is made to deploy a formidable fleet, often called the Deathworlder Fleet. These ships are not merely for defense. They are built for war in the deadliest environments and capable of unleashing devastating firepower with precision and relentlessness. The preparation is swift but thorough. Human engineers upgrade ships with new weapons, shields, and battle AI. Crews train relentlessly, preparing for the worst battles humanity has ever faced. While many alien diplomats remain skeptical, some watch in growing curiosity and cautious hope. As the fleet prepares to jump into the Calthar-controlled sector, the galaxy holds its breath. The arrival of the human Deathworlder fleet will change the balance of power, but few know exactly how or to what end. What is clear is that the Calthar Dominion's reign of terror is about to face a force unlike any it has ever encountered, one forged in the harshest crucibles of survival: humanity. The arrival of alien ambassadors on Earth marks a pivotal moment in galactic history. These envoys come from shattered worlds and desperate civilizations, emissaries bearing grim tales of destruction and pleading for humanity's intervention against the merciless Calthar Dominion. They arrive not with weapons or threats, but with raw vulnerability, their voices trembling as they recount the horrors their people have endured. Their stories are harrowing. Cities turned to rubble, ecosystems poisoned, millions enslaved or slaughtered. The Calthar Dominion's war machines operate with ruthless efficiency, crushing resistance with overwhelming firepower and a cold disregard for life. The alien diplomats paint a bleak picture of a galaxy on the brink of total collapse, pleading for the human fleet's arrival to tip the scales. On Earth, the response to these pleas is complex and measured. Humanity listens carefully, but the decision to intervene is not made lightly. Past history has taught humans to be wary of outside influence, and while empathy exists, it is tempered by hard-earned pragmatism. The leaders of Earth understand that entering this conflict means risking countless lives and committing their resources to a war far from home. Yet they also recognize an opportunity. By standing against the Calthar Dominion, humanity can assert itself as a formidable power in the galaxy, demanding respect rather than pity. A council of Earth's military and political leaders convenes to weigh the risks and benefits. They debate the terms under which they will offer aid. Unlike many alien species, who often rely on diplomacy or fragile alliances, humanity insists on clear conditions. They will help, but only on their own terms. This means command over their forces, strategic freedom, and guarantees that their contributions will not be exploited or diminished. This pragmatic stance unsettles some of the alien diplomats. Many are accustomed to begging for mercy and receiving conditional promises. Humanity's approach is different, calculated, confident, and unyielding. The alien leaders quickly realize that humanity's involvement will not be a simple rescue mission, but a full-scale military intervention with consequences that will ripple across the galaxy. Meanwhile, Earth's military prepares for war with renewed vigor. The Deathworlder fleet, already formidable, undergoes upgrades and refinements. New weapon systems are installed, battle tactics honed, and crews trained for the harshest combat scenarios. Humanity's warships are designed not just to survive, but to dominate in environments where most others would perish. As the human fleet mobilizes, the alien diplomats act as liaisons, providing vital intelligence about Calthar positions, vulnerabilities, and strategies. Despite their desperation, some aliens still harbor doubts about humanity's willingness to commit fully or to fight with the brutal efficiency the situation demands. Yet, as the Deathworlder fleet prepares to jump into Calthar space, those doubts begin to fade. The final moments before the fleet's deployment are tense. Earth watches and waits as humanity's most powerful warships leap into the dark void, heading straight toward the heart of the Calthar Dominion. The galaxy holds its breath, some with hope, others with fear, wondering whether humanity's intervention will be the salvation the aliens pleaded for, or the herald of a new, unpredictable force reshaping galactic power forever. Humanity's response is clear. They will fight not out of mere compassion, but from a deep-seated resolve forged by millennia of survival against impossible odds. The Deathworlder fleet is no ordinary rescue force. It is a reckoning. The moment humanity's Deathworlder fleet jumps into Calthar-controlled space marks a turning point in the galactic war. The fleet emerges in a cluster of strategically vital systems, planets ravaged by war, once thriving colonies now reduced to deathworlds through relentless bombardment and toxic terraforming. The alien civilizations caught in this hellscape look on with a mixture of hope and fear as the legendary human fleet arrives. From the outset, the difference between humanity's war machines and those of the Calthar Dominion is stark. The Calthar rely on overwhelming numbers and sheer firepower, deploying vast legions of warships and mechanized ground forces to crush resistance. Their ships are heavily armored and armed but lack flexibility and adaptability. The humans, however, bring a different style of warfare, battle-hardened ships designed to endure the deadliest environments and fight under conditions others would consider suicidal. The Deathworlder fleet's ships bear scars and modifications earned through decades of combat on Earth's harshest deathworlds, planets with toxic atmospheres, violent storms, and deadly predators. This experience has forged a mentality of relentless endurance and fierce adaptability. Human captains and crews are trained not only to fight, but to innovate in the heat of battle, turning even disadvantages into advantages. The first engagements are brutal and swift. Human battle tactics combine precision strikes with overwhelming aggression, using advanced electronic warfare, plasma weaponry, and devastating boarding maneuvers. Alien observers are stunned by humanity's willingness to take damage that would cripple others, pressing forward with a ferocity fueled by survival instincts honed over centuries. Several skirmishes showcase humanity's tactical creativity. For example, a fleet might feign retreat, drawing Calthar forces into an ambush near a dying star, where solar flares disable enemy sensors. In another battle, human engineers jury-rig a planetary defense system into a trap, causing devastating chain reactions that obliterate entire Calthar squadrons. The Death World-hardened mindset means humans expect high casualties, but accept them as the cost of victory. As the fleet presses deeper, the Calthar Dominion's commanders grow increasingly desperate. Their usually disciplined warlords struggle to counter the unpredictable and brutal tactics of the Death Worlder fleet. Alien commanders, who once dismissed humanity as a backwater species, now regard the humans with a mixture of awe and terror. The turning point comes when the human fleet corners a massive Calthar dreadnought, an enormous flagship heavily armed and shielded, thought invincible. The battle is fierce, with both sides unleashing their deadliest weapons. Yet humanity's relentless assault, combined with unexpected technological innovations and sheer willpower, breaks through the dreadnought's defenses. The flagship is destroyed in a cataclysmic explosion visible across multiple star systems. The destruction of the dreadnought sends shockwaves through the Calthar Dominion. It marks the first major defeat for the seemingly unstoppable empire and galvanizes allied alien forces who had been on the brink of surrender. Hope surges among those who had suffered under Calthar rule, igniting uprisings and renewed resistance. Throughout these battles, alien witnesses note something more unsettling than human weaponry. The humans themselves. Their unyielding determination, readiness to sacrifice, and willingness to fight through overwhelming odds set them apart. Where others might hesitate or seek mercy, humans push forward like a storm, relentless and unforgiving. The Death Worlder fleet's descent into Calthar space has not just shifted the tide of war. It has shattered long-held assumptions about humanity's place in the galaxy. The aliens realize that humanity is not the fragile secondary species they believed, but a force born of survival in the deadliest conditions, a force that will not be denied. As the dust settles on the battlefield, the question lingers across the stars. What price will humanity demand for their help? And what will come next in this war that has only just begun? The destruction of the Calthar dreadnought sent ripples of shock and fear through the Dominion's forces. Yet far from celebrating, the human Death Worlder fleet braces for an even fiercer response. The Calthar commanders, known for their brutal ruthlessness, refuse to accept defeat. Instead, they launch a final, desperate offensive aimed at crushing humanity's intervention before it can change the war's course. The battle that follows is the fiercest and most decisive engagement yet. The Calthar deploy their most formidable warships, alongside experimental weaponry and hordes of mechanized infantry designed for planetary invasions. Their strategy is to overwhelm the human fleet with superior numbers and devastating firepower, but they have underestimated humanity's unique fighting spirit and unorthodox tactics. Human commanders view this battle not merely as a contest of firepower, but as a test of survival and will. Their approach is cold, ruthless, and efficient, a stark contrast to many alien species who often hold back in the hopes of diplomacy or sparing collateral damage. Humanity's war doctrine, shaped by centuries of brutal Death World conflicts, leaves no room for hesitation. Every strike is calculated to cause maximum damage. Every opportunity to exploit enemy weaknesses is ruthlessly seized. In the opening phase of the battle, human ships employ electronic warfare to cripple Calthar communications and targeting systems. This disrupts the Dominion's ability to coordinate their massive fleet, causing confusion and misfires. Simultaneously, human fighters execute precision strikes on key enemy vessels, prioritizing command ships and weapons platforms to destabilize the enemy chain of command. As the battle intensifies, humanity unveils experimental weapons never before seen by the galaxy. One such weapon is a high-yield nanoswarm device, microscopic machines that invade enemy ships, disabling systems and spreading chaos from within. Deployed at critical moments, these nanoswarms wreak havoc on the Calthar flagship and its escorts, crippling their defenses from the inside out. On the battlefield, the human crews fight with a level of discipline and ferocity that shocks alien allies and enemies alike. Boarding parties launch suicidal boarding actions to take over enemy ships, turning them into explosive traps that obliterate Calthar forces from within. Human soldiers, hardened by their harsh homeworlds, show a willingness to sacrifice everything for victory that alien forces rarely match. Amidst the chaos, a striking difference in mentality becomes clear. Many alien commanders hesitate, torn between fighting to the death or seeking mercy, sometimes even attempting last-minute negotiations. Humans, however, see mercy as a luxury they cannot afford. The galaxy is harsh, and only the strongest survive. This merciless resolve becomes their greatest weapon. The battle reaches its climax when the human fleet targets the Calthar flagship directly. Combining coordinated missile salvos, energy blasts, and the nanoswarms, they breach the dreadnought's shields. As it explodes in a blinding flash, the remaining Calthar vessels break formation and flee in disarray. The fallout is immediate and profound. The Calthar Dominion's forces are shattered and retreat into the dark fringes of the galaxy. Their aura of invincibility is broken, inspiring alien species previously paralyzed by fear to rise in rebellion. Galactic warlords and governors start pledging allegiance to the human-led coalition, eager to be on the winning side. Yet, the humans' merciless victory comes with a warning. They have no interest in becoming saviors or protectors for the galaxy at large. Their intervention was hard-earned and comes with terms. Respect humanity's power and sovereignty or face total annihilation. This clear message sends shockwaves through the galactic political landscape. For many aliens, the Deathworlder fleet's victory is both a beacon of hope and a chilling reminder of what humanity truly is. A species forged in brutality and survival, unafraid to unleash destruction when necessary. The galaxy will never again look at humanity as a weak or secondary race. As the embers of the battle fade, the stage is set for a new order, one where humanity stands tall, unyielding, and ready for the conflict still to come. The destruction of the Calthar flagship and the merciless retaliation by humanity's Deathworlder fleet send shockwaves throughout the galaxy. The tide of the war is shifting, and the once feared Calthar Dominion finds itself on the defensive for the first time in decades. Yet the conflict is far from over. The battle scars left behind and the fragile alliances forged during this period will determine the galaxy's future. The Calthar Dominion retreats to their core systems, regrouping and reinforcing their war machines. Despite their initial shock and losses, they are a relentless foe who adapt quickly. They begin developing new weapons and tactics designed to counter humanity's unconventional warfare. These adaptations include deploying faster, more agile strike forces, enhanced cybernetic soldiers, and fortified planetary defenses. The Dominion is determined to reclaim lost ground and crush the human threat before it grows too powerful. Meanwhile, the alien civilizations devastated by Calthar occupation start to rise from the ashes. Inspired by humanity's fierce intervention, many species who had been broken or intimidated begin to reclaim their worlds. Insurrections spread across formerly Calthar-held territories, with resistance fighters coordinating closely with the human fleet. Humanity shares not just military might, but also tactical knowledge and technology, empowering their allies to fight smarter and harder. Galactic diplomacy becomes a crucial battleground in this phase. The alliance of alien species, once fragmented and mistrustful, begins to solidify under human leadership. While many had doubted humanity's motives and resolve, their decisive victories have earned respect. However, some alien factions remain wary of humanity's growing influence, fearing that the Deathworlder fleet's arrival is the beginning of a new form of galactic domination, not liberation. On Earth, military and political leaders carefully navigate these alliances. They assert that humanity's help comes with conditions, respect for Earth's sovereignty, and a seat at the galactic decision-making table. This stance generates tension, but also ensures that humanity's sacrifices are not taken for granted. It marks the beginning of a new era, where Earth is no longer a distant backwater, but a key power player in galactic affairs. As the war progresses, new heroes emerge among both humans and aliens. Commanders renowned for bold strategies and fearless leadership become legends in their own right. Among humans, veterans of Deathworld combat lead critical missions, employing guerrilla tactics and daring strikes behind enemy lines. Alien leaders who align with humanity rise to prominence as well, symbolizing the unity required to defeat the Dominion. Despite this momentum, the Cathar Dominion's counterattacks are fierce. They launch surprise raids on supply lines and sabotage operations designed to cripple the coalition's logistical capabilities. These brutal strikes remind all involved that victory will demand resilience and sacrifice. The Deathworlder fleet adapts once more. Engineers and scientists develop innovative defenses and weapon systems, often incorporating alien technologies. The coalition fleets coordinate large-scale operations to retake key star systems, gradually pushing the Dominion back from the brink. Throughout these campaigns, the psychological impact of humanity's involvement becomes clear. The Cathar Dominion had long underestimated humans, viewing them as primitive and insignificant. Now, stories of human ferocity and tactical genius spread like wildfire, shaking the Dominion's morale and encouraging rebellion within their ranks. By the end of this turning tide, the galactic balance of power is no longer certain. The Cathar Dominion's grip weakens, and a new coalition, led by humanity and supported by a growing alliance of alien species, stands ready to challenge the Dominion's reign. Yet the galaxy remains a volatile place. The Deathworlder fleet's intervention has changed everything, but the cost of this war and the path to lasting peace remain uncertain. The stage is set for a final confrontation that will decide not only the fate of the Cathar Dominion but the future of the entire galaxy. The final chapter of this epic conflict unfolds with the galaxy holding its breath. After months of relentless battles, strategic maneuvers, and fragile alliances, the Deathworlder fleet prepares for its decisive strike against the heart of the Cathar Dominion. This is not just a military operation, it is a reckoning, a moment when humanity will prove whether it is a savior, a conqueror, or something far more complex. The Cathar Dominion, battered and desperate, has fortified its core systems with the deadliest defenses ever seen. Their warships swarm the region like a dark storm, while planetary shields and automated weapon platforms make any direct assault perilous. The Dominion's leaders, embittered by losses and fearing extinction, are ready to unleash their last-ditch efforts, including devastating biological weapons and planet-destroying superweapons. Humanity's response is calculated and cold. Commanders meticulously plan a multi-pronged assault, combining space superiority, precision ground strikes, and sabotage operations deep inside enemy territory. The Deathworlder fleet is supported by allied alien forces, each bringing unique strengths: stealth fleets, heavy artillery platforms, and specialized infantry trained in guerrilla warfare. The battle begins with a series of lightning raids aimed at disabling key Cathar installations and disrupting supply lines. Human and allied operatives infiltrate enemy bases, employing stealth technology and cyber warfare to cripple defenses from within. The aliens witness the cold efficiency of humanity's tactics. There is no hesitation, no mercy for those who stand in the way. In space, the fleet engages the Cathar Armada in a clash of titanic proportions. The skies above war-torn planets are filled with the flashes of plasma fire, the roar of engines, and the thunder of explosions. Human warships, scarred and battle-worn, coordinate with alien vessels in unprecedented synergy. The Deathworlder fleet uses its hallmark tactics: relentless aggression, unorthodox maneuvers, and a willingness to accept staggering losses for ultimate victory. As the battle rages, stories emerge of extraordinary heroism and sacrifice. Captains willingly take ships into near-certain destruction to buy time for fleet maneuvers. Soldiers fight to the last breath on hostile worlds to secure vital positions. Diplomats work feverishly to keep fragile alliances intact amidst the chaos. These acts embody humanity's iron will and relentless spirit. Despite the overwhelming odds, the human-led coalition slowly gains ground. The Cathar's superweapons are neutralized by coordinated strikes and sabotage missions, and their morale begins to crumble. Internal dissent and rebellion spread among Cathar worlds, fueled by years of oppression and the recent string of defeats. The climax arrives when the Deathworlder fleet confronts the Cathar Dominion's Supreme Command flagship, a colossal vessel symbolizing the Dominion's power and ruthlessness. The ensuing battle is fierce, testing every tactic and weapon at humanity's disposal. After a grueling conflict marked by ingenuity and sheer determination, the flagship is destroyed in a cataclysmic explosion that echoes across space. With their command shattered and forces scattered, the Cathar Dominion collapses. The galaxy breathes a tentative sigh of relief, but the cost of victory is etched in the countless lives lost and worlds devastated. In the aftermath, humanity emerges not merely as liberators, but as a dominant force reshaping the galactic order. Their uncompromising stance, helped by immense sacrifice, has won respect and fear alike. Allies look to humanity for leadership, while former enemies reconsider their own positions. The story closes on a galaxy forever changed. The aliens who once pleaded for mercy now recognize humanity's true nature. A species born of death worlds, forged in fire and capable of mercy but never weakness. Humanity's arrival has rewritten the rules of galactic power, signaling a new era where survival demands strength, resolve, and the will to endure against all odds.